say every town has one. That one house at the end of the street where the lights always seem to flicker. For us, it was number 7, Sycamore Close. We never believed the stories. Not until we moved in. Not until we learned the real horror wasn't the house itself, but the unbreakable, smiling welcome from the people who already lived there. After my dad lost his job, a fresh start meant taking the only place we could afford. It was a post-war semi, suspiciously cheap, in a pleasant enough neighborhood just outside Manchester. The estate agent was brisk, mentioning that previous tenants had left quickly with a dismissive wave of her hand. But honestly, we were just desperate. The day we carried our first boxes inside, the neighbors came out. All of them. Mrs. Armitage from number 5 brought a shepherd's pie, still hot. Old Mr. Peterson from number 3 offered to help me build my new bike. Even the teenagers from down the road asked if I wanted to kick a ball around. It was overwhelming, but in a good way. My mom, stressed from the move, teared up at their kindness, whispering that this was our new community. But looking back, the welcome was a little too precise. They knew our names before we ever introduced ourselves. Mrs. Armitage mentioned my dad's fondness for real ale, though he'd never spoken a word to her. Mr. Peterson asked my mum if neither once she detwisted carrying a heavy box was feeling any better. We just shrugged it off as small-town gossip, a really close-knit street. The first rule came on day 3. Mrs. Armitage mentioned it casually over the garden fence. Bins out by 6:30 sharp on Thursday, she said with a smile. Not a minute later, the lorry comes dreadfully early Friday, and we all like to keep the street tidy. A sensible request, right? But that evening, at 6:31, as my dad wheeled our overflowing bin out, he saw them. Curtains twitching at number 5. Another at number 9. Silent, observing faces in the dusk. He laughed it off, but it was a nervous sound. Then came the other sounds, a quiet, synchronized scraping every Sunday night at 10 o'clock. We peered out the window and saw every single neighbor, in perfect unison, dragging their black wheelie bins back from the curb to their side gates. Not a word was spoken between them. It was a perfectly choreographed ritual. My little sister, Lily, started having nightmares. She said the people outside were practicing being people. We just told her she had an overactive imagination. The second rule arrived on a note card slipped through our letterbox. No loud music after 7. We all cherished the peace. It wasn't signed. That Saturday, a football I had accidentally kicked into Mr. Peterson's pristine garden was returned to our doorstep. It wasn't just returned, it was washed. The fear wasn't a shout. It was a whisper that got inside your head. It was the way every lawn was manicured to the exact same height. The way every single car was washed every Sunday morning. The way if you stepped outside at an odd hour, you felt eyes on you before you saw the subtle shift of a net curtain. We stopped going out in the evenings. Our house, which should have been our refuge, began to feel like a glass box in the middle of a silent, watching museum. The breaking point was Lily's 7th birthday. My mum, trying desperately to force some normality into our lives, bought balloons and a cake. Lily wanted to release a single helium balloon into the sky, a little tradition from our old home. So we stood in the back garden, the 3 of us, and let it go. We watched it soar up, a bright pink dot against the gray sky, drifting over the fence and the roof of number 5. 2 minutes later, our doorbell rang. There stood Mrs. Armitage, Mr. Peterson, and the father from number 9. Their smiles were perfectly intact, but their eyes were flat, like polished stones. Mrs. Armitage held the pink balloon, now neatly deflated and folded. She told us, so sweetly, that we mustn't litter, that it upset the balance, that we all shared the same sky here. Mr. Peterson just nodded, his gaze fixed on my trembling mother. He said they wouldn't want anything to upset us, that they were all so happy we were here, but they wanted us to stay. They just stood there on our doorstep until Mom, with a shaking hand, took the folded piece of latex. Only then did they turn and leave, all in unison. That night, my parents argued in hushed, frantic tones. Mom insisted we had to leave. Dad snapped back that we couldn't sell. We had no equity. but we just had to keep our heads down and get on with it. I lay in bed, frozen, just listening to the silence of the close. A silence that felt like it was listening back. Then, at midnight exactly, came a new sound. A single, resonant tap on my bedroom window. I nearly screamed. I crawled to the sill and peered out into the darkness. The street was empty, but on the pavement directly below, illuminated by that flickering streetlight, were 3 objects arranged in a neat line. My football, Lily's favorite hair ribbon she had lost days ago, and one of my dad's favorite spanners from the garage. It was a collection. A display that was showing us they could take anything, anytime. That they were already inside. We packed the car at 5 in the morning, moving like ghosts ourselves. We were ready to sell at a loss. Do anything just to get out of there. As Dad reversed silently onto the deserted street, the car's interior light flickered on, illuminating our terrified faces. And in that exact moment, every single porch light on Sycamore Close clicked on. Every door number 3, 5, 9, 11, 13, all of them opened, and our neighbors stood in their door frames. They weren't moving to stop us. They were just standing there, watching, and waving. Not angry waves, but friendly, cheerful goodbye waves, as if they were seeing off dear friends on a long journey. We drove for hours, shaking, and finally pulled into a motorway service station, feeling like fugitives. Mum, trying to soothe Lily, opened her handbag to get a tissue. Then she went very still and let out a choked gasp. She pulled out a neatly folded square of paper. On it, in that familiar, elegant handwriting, it read, "For your new home, so you remember the rules." Below was a list, starting with our new address, one we had only provided to our solicitor that week. And beneath that, a new rule. Rule 1. You will always speak fondly of Sycamore Close. But the true horror, the twist that hollowed me out completely, came a week later. We were in a temporary rental, paranoid, checking locks constantly, when a welcome card came through the door. It was from our new next-door neighbors, a normal-looking, smiling family. My dad opened it, his hands steady for the first time in days. He read the message, his face went pale, and he passed it to me. It said, "So glad to have you. Pop over for a drink soon. P.S. Your friends from Sycamore Close say hello. They're so proud of how well you've settled in." We never told our new neighbors where we came from. We never spoke a word about Sycamore Close to anyone. They hadn't followed us. They had recommended us. We weren't escaping them. We were spreading them. The community wasn't a location, it was a condition, and we had just been diagnosed. You don't leave a place like that. You get transferred. Thanks for watching.